tonight for Cooking with Denise. It's one of my favorite meals to cook, and that is the New York strip steak. It's a tender cut of meat, but I also marinate that tender cut of meat so it becomes even more tender. I think you'll really enjoy this recipe because the steak is cooked to perfection, and then I put that red wine sauce on top of it. It's going to be a meal that you're going to want to have for all your special occasions. Let me show you how I make my New York strip steak. Let's start by taking 2 cloves of garlic and preparing them for our marinade. Now take a bowl and put your garlic into the bowl. Add a tablespoon of miso paste. About 1/8 cup of olive oil. And then a dry red wine, about 1/2 cup. Toast your salt lightly because the miso paste has salt in it. Add black pepper, freshly ground. Now let's stir that up. Darby wants to talk to you guys. Okay, now let's add some fresh thyme. Got about 5 sprigs. And now it's time to add your steak. I've got about a 10-ounce New York strip. Choose your preferred steak. Push it down in there. And then I'm going to turn it over. Pierce it a few times. Turn it over again. Leave a few of those garlics on top. And I'm going to marinate this now for 8 hours. Okay, now our steak has been marinating for 8 hours, and I'm ready to get it going. I've got my skillet heating up, so I'm going to add about a tablespoon of oil. And I know everybody has their favorite way of preparing their steak. This just happens to be mine, and I wanted to share it with you. Now I put the oil in to help keep the butter from burning. I am adding 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm only doing 1 steak, but that should be plenty. So let's let that heat up and the butter melt. In the meantime, our steak is coming to room temperature. So our butter's heating up, and I've taken our steak and taken it out of the marinade, and I've patted it dry. And so now it's ready to add to our hot butter and oil. Now if you notice, my steak's pretty thick. It's about 2 inches thick. So I have my thermometer so we can measure the internal temperature to determine if it's to my liking, which I do like mine medium rare, even more close to rare. So it's up to each person what they prefer. We want to make sure we get a good sear on this steak on all sides to hold all of the juices and tenderness in. The New York strip is one of the most tender cuts of meat, but we still want to make it as tender and juicy as we can. Now this is going to take about 3 to 4 minutes on each side to cook. And I will not use a fork. I will not pierce my steak. I'm going to use these tongs, and I'll use the flat side to make sure I don't pierce my steak. Let's check and see if this side's brown. Yes, I'm flipping it over. Let's go on and put some salt and pepper on. I use kosher salt and some fresh ground pepper. It smells good already. I'm baking me a potato to go along with this. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the grocery store, so I don't have sour cream for my potato, but I'll make do with just cheese and onions and butter. And also, I need someone to make me some of that good fresh bread that I see being made on all these videos. I am not good at baking, so I have to buy my bread ready-made. Okay, let's check this side. That's good. Let's do on the ends, or the sides, maybe we call that. I've tried grilling my steak as well as sauteing my steak in the pan, and I truly prefer sauteing the steak in the pan. And maybe it's because I just am not good at grilling. Okay, let's check that. Good. Okay. And very end. And now the other side. You notice I left the fat on. That really adds to the flavor. And so I don't cut any of that fat off until I start to eat it. This is not a heart-healthy meal, but it is one of my favorite meals. And I do this, I have this on what I call special occasions. And today happens to be special occasion because I decided it would be. But anyway, it's also a good meal to serve to your guests because they'll feel special too. Okay, now let's do it on this very end. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to turn my heat down a little, and we're going to let our steak continue to cook internally. I'm going to turn my oven on 200 degrees because I'm going to let my steak rest in the oven but not cool down too much. I'm going to flip it over. Now let's start checking the temperature. I want an internal temperature of 125 degrees Fahrenheit and 52 Celsius for rare. So let's check this and see what we have right now. Remember, this is pretty thick. Oh, he's only at 70, so we've got a ways to go. So let's let our steak continue to cook. And I'm starting to believe it's going to be more like 5 minutes on each side just to get it to a rare state. And I'm going to turn my steak to the side. Let it cook a little on that side. Now, if you're wanting your steak a little more like medium to well done, you're going to want your steak's internal temperature to be around 145 Fahrenheit. And that's about 63 Celsius, be a minimum, and a little more, maybe on up to 155 to you really want well done. Now, if you're looking, the outside of my steak is looking well done, but the inside is definitely rare. And I'm going to turn this back over. And let's check the temperature. I'm at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so we still have a ways to go. And let's try the other side. Okay, let's turn this down again. And let's see what our temperature is at this point. Okay, we have arrived. So what I'm going to do is take the steak and put it on this plate to rest. I'm going to put it in the oven where it's 200 degrees and let it rest. Now while our steak rests, I'm going to add the marinade to the skillet. And we're going to let that cook down. This will make us a nice sauce. It's flavorful and can go over top of our steak. It's cooked down a nice amount. That garlic flavor is coming out. Got that red wine and fresh thyme. And we've got miso paste in there. And if you've never used miso paste, you are going to find you love it because it adds lots of flavor to the steak, to chicken, to shrimp. I've got several recipes I'll have to share with you for using the miso. Okay, this is boiling down too much. I'm going to take it off the heat. Okay, so our baked potato is on the plate. I've put our steak there, put our savory sauce on top. So delicious. Wish I had sour cream for my potato, but my steak is going to be perfect. That with a glass of red wine. If only I had some good, warm, fresh bread. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. Come back and watch other videos.